Thank you for your patience. We've been over here working. I have the most amazing team, and I'm so not a techie. And so thank you. Welcome. This is Sugar Impact Secrets webinar. And again, I'm JJ Virgin, and we have thousands of you on the line patiently waiting. Thank you. And you've sent in questions. Oh my gosh, we've got a lot of them. And by the way, you can keep sending them on in to camper@jjvirgin.com. And what we're doing is we're just pulling them all together. We're picking out the most popular ones. And if we don't answer them tonight, I will be answering questions. I will be hanging out with you. And I'm also going to be walking you through this sugar impact diet so you can get started now, right now, and you'll know exactly what to do. But I'm going to take those questions and we'll answer a ton of them tonight. What we don't get through, we'll be putting in the blogs and podcasts as well. So throw your questions in here, camper@jjvirgin.com. I'm going to help you take back control over sugar tonight. I hope you're ready to get started. And here's what happened. So I wrote The Virgin Diet 2 years ago, the New York Times bestseller. And what happened when I wrote The Virgin Diet is I started getting all these questions about, you guessed it, sugar. It seems like people were either confused by it or just controlled by their cravings. So I put together a program, and what you're going to learn here tonight is how a low-fat diet is actually a high-sugar diet. And a high-sugar diet means high fat on your body, and you do not want that, I'm sure. Also, where sugar is sneaking into your healthy diet, yes, those foods that you are actually eating trying to be healthy, where sugar is sneaking in to your diet, and more importantly, simple swaps that you can make for those high sugar foods so that you don't even miss them. In fact, you'll probably like these things better. And how to get rid of those cravings. And I've had loads of questions, by the way, on how do I get rid of these cravings I've had forever. I'm going to show you how to get rid of your cravings in 2 weeks or less. And more importantly, this is not about no sugar. It's really knowing which sugars to choose and which sugars to lose. And one other thing, and this is another question that has come up over and over again, is how to know exactly how much sugar you can or should be eating. And then I like to reward people, especially those of you who've been hanging out now waiting. I want to reward you for being here and honor you for being here and taking the time out with me tonight. And so I will be giving you a special offer for those of you on the call. So stay with me for that as well. So just wanted to, for those of you who don't know me, who are brand new, and if you're brand new, I'm so happy you're here, share a little bit about me. I've been really fortunate over the years, kind of got my start way back when teaching doctors a course called Overcoming Weight Loss Resistance. Early on, I figured out that the whole calories in, calories out silly model of over-exercising and under-eating didn't work. And I'm sure if you're on the line, you've experienced that personally. And I started looking at all the things that can get in the way of that, and I started teaching this course to doctors. And along the way, I ended up on the Dr. Phil show for a couple seasons when he did all of his weight loss stuff. I just did a fun segment with Dr. Oz. I've been on Rachel Ray. And the thing I love most is speaking. I just spoke at A4M for 5,000 docs on sugar impact. And I speak all over. I do fun TV stuff. I get to work with some celebrities. But my most favorite thing of all is not all of that. My most favorite thing of all is helping as many people out there change their lives. I helped over 1 million people with the Virgin Diet. And when I run into people all over the place and I hear their stories, that's why I do what I do. So I try to get as much information out there in simple ways. My goal is to create simple programs that you can take that will help you put this into play and change your life. And that's really what it's about. So what I found with the sugar impact diet and why I wrote this was I knew that what we were doing wasn't working. I mean, it's clear. And that we were really looking at sugar all wrong with this glycemic index, which I'm going to talk about. And the end result of looking at sugar all wrong is that we ended up tired, frazzled, controlled by cravings, and really feeling defeated. Like, this is just, you just can't do this. And ultimately what happens when you feel like that is you just give up. It starts holding you back. You start letting go of the dreams that you had in your life and not going for the things that you really want to go for. When I think of this and what I've seen happen in the short time, I did a trial program for the sugar impact diet called my Sugar Solution Group Challenge. I did a trial of this a year ago, and I took 700 people through this. And the reason this says drop 7 hidden sugars, lose up to 10 pounds in just 2 weeks, is because That's what happened with the average person. They lost up to 10 pounds in 2 weeks, but more importantly, they lost their sweet tooth forever. And I had this one gal, Jean, who went on the program. And she went on the program, and this woman had been morbidly obese since the age of 30. She tried everything. And she said, I really wasn't eating that bad, but I was still doing like the snack packs, the cookies, but things I didn't think because they were fat-free or low fat, that they were so bad. She went on this program, dropped 15 pounds within the first 2 weeks, which was huge because this is someone who could never lose weight. Got so inspired, she joined the local women's gym. She's working out there. She's losing weight. The owner notices, asks her what she's doing. She explains it to her, and the owner says, well, you should come work here. Now, what's funny is Jean had been retired, and she decided she was just going to quilt. She was going to quilt her way through retirement, right? Because she was morbidly obese. What could she do? So now she's got this job at the local gym, and part of being there and being hired, she has to become a certified health and fitness instructor. And what is so cool about this, she's now helping other women with this. And what I love the most is Jean is 70. 70. So if you're listening to any of this thinking, it's my genes, or I'm too old for this, or, forget it. This is your chance right now to take back control, to take back your life, and to go after those dreams that you want to do. Don't let sugar get in your way. But the deal is, we all know, and it's not new information, that sugar is bad for us. That's not like, ooh, really, JJ? Wow. But what's so crazy is we're eating less table sugar than ever. But we're eating more sugar overall than ever, too. In fact, just 20 years ago, we were eating 26 pounds of sugar a year and 10% obesity, by the way. Now we are eating 150 pounds per person of sugar per year. And the obesity rate's just hitting 35%. So besides the 70 different diseases that sugar plays a role in, obesity is definitely a big part. But you might be thinking, but those are those other people. That's not me. But what I will tell you is that sugar is sneaking into places that you would never expect. And some of it is really that we're getting duped by misinformation. I mean, you see this picture of the sugar-free jam. What you'll see is these ones that say, no sugar added. And in reality, they've added fruit juice concentrates. And you can do that and say no sugar added when you're dosing yourself with sugar. Or look at marinara sauce. The average marinara sauce out there has more sugar in its half-cup serving than 4 Oreo cookies. Or you look at the yogurt down there. Do you know a yogurt has one of those strawberry fat-free yogurts? And remember, low fat is high sugar, and high sugar means high fat on your body. But those strawberry yogurts, fat-free, has more sugar than an ice cream cone and a half. And the bummer is you're probably having that fat-free yogurt as a snack in the afternoon because someone told you that that was the right healthy thing to do. So here's the deal. Here's all this healthy food that you're trying to eat, trying to be healthy, and you're actually dosing yourself with sugar. And when I see this, I think of Mary Jo, because Mary Jo was in the same situation. She was basically eating all of these healthy foods. She said, I stocked, in fact, I've got her story right in front of me, but she said, I bought fresh fruits and veggies, healthy fats, gluten-free grains and flours, olive oil, butter, quality meats and fish. And she said, I made all my meals at home. I didn't really drink, rarely ate candy or soda. Okay, every afternoon I wanted a little something in mid-afternoon, I had a little craving, and I wanted a little sweeter cookie after dinner, but I was really careful about everything. But then as I went through the program and I started to look at labels and especially saw about fructose, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit, how this is the most damaging sugar of all, I was blown away by how it had been sneaking into my diet. Now, she really did this, not so much to lose weight, but because she wanted to impact her husband and daughter. She wanted to do this as a catalyst for her family. And what happened is that the 3 of them now have lost over 50 pounds. And then another family member lost another 15 pounds. And she's just keeping going with them until her daughter and husband have more weight to lose. She, again, didn't really need to lose any weight. She still did. But for her, what was the real eye-opener was how much energy she had. And I think for so many of us, there's things that we do that we just settle for. And there's something that I use here called the Sugar Impact Quiz, because I find so many of the things that can be caused due to high sugar impact are things that we accept as just normal. And they are lower unstable energy. I mean, when you look at it, look at the look at the coffee, how many coffee stores there are around, and look at the Red Bull, and look at the 5-hour energy. Energy, we are in an energy crisis in this country, or the sugar and carb cravings. I mean, when I look at the over 1,000 questions that I've gotten sent in response to our call out for questions for this webinar, the big one was, how do I deal with these cravings? Or appetite. You're going to learn how fructose drives your appetite, and it's crazy what's happening to it. And then, of course, poor mood and focus. You know, maybe it's not ADD, maybe it's the apple juice that you are having that has more fructose than a Coke, or the gas and bloating, the difficulty losing weight, the belly fat. What if it wasn't your age? What if it was the cereal with milk and the juice and the banana that you have for breakfast because you heard that that was part of a healthy breakfast that actually has the same amount of sugar as 4 ice cream cones? And what if it was as simple as just making some easy swaps for other foods you're probably going to like better, and weight loss becomes effortless and cravings go away forever? Well, that's what I want to give you. And that's why I start with that Sugar Impact Quiz, where you can look at these things and go, wow, all right, those aren't normal, because we have been taught to think these are normal for us. They're not normal. They are your body's early warning system going, this is not right. And it's not right because you've been following the wrong set of rules. We all have. We've been duped by misinformation, because the entire way that we go about determining if something is good or bad is based on this glycemic index. And this thing needs to be blown up, because it doesn't make any sense. Because the glycemic index looks at one thing. It's going to take a 50-gram dose of a food and look at how much your blood sugar rises in response to it. Well, here's why that's silly. Number one, we don't eat foods in isolation. So you're probably not going to eat 50 grams of, say, rice. That wouldn't make sense all by itself. And number two, that might work for a potato because 50 grams is an average amount there, but it makes no sense for carrots. And it makes carrots and a potato look the same. So I looked at this and I went, you know what? We've got to make something that looks at the impact of sugar. Is it making you tired or energetic? Is the food you ate making you store fat or burn it? Age faster, age slower? Have a great mood or be crabby? Because food is information, and what you're eating has a dramatic impact, not just on your weight, but on your energy, on your mood, on your focus, and all of those different diseases. And you, again, probably have been a victim, because I believe that we've trying so hard, and for so much of us, it's not our fault. You've probably been a victim of misinformation out there. You've just been simply following the wrong set of rules. And that actually is great, great news, because that means we can change it. So I set out to create something that made sense, that took into account all of the things that really make a difference. And the first one being fructose. The issue with the glycemic index is that it doesn't take fructose into account, because in all sugar, by the way, so all carbs are going to turn into sugar, except for fiber. And they really have two fates. One is they'll turn into glucose, and the other is their fructose. So if it starts as fructose, it stays as fructose, and it goes straight to the liver, where it is either turned into glucose and stored for energy later, but the liver is not very big, or it is turned into fat if there's no space in the liver to store it as energy. And as you can guess, because the liver is a small place, there's not much space. Now, because the fructose goes straight to the liver, it's the only organ that can metabolize it, it doesn't raise your blood sugar, which we used to think was a cool, great thing. But in reality, that means it also doesn't trigger any of the satiety signals, which means when you eat fructose, which is the most aging sugar that there is, it goes straight to the liver, tells your body to make fat, and you're still hungry. I don't understand what he means. So you're still hungry while you're making fat. I mean, how unfair is that? So that's fructose. Now, what about glucose? So all other sugars are going to turn to glucose, whether it's a carb or a sugar to start out with. But here's the thing. You want your body to make sugar from the food you eat. You don't want to mainline sugar. You want to make sugar slowly from the food you eat. That's eating low sugar impact. So when you're eating these things, if it's raising your blood sugar, and by the way, artificial sweeteners can do that too. That's a problem. So what I did was take fructose and glycemic load, which means really how much is this raising your blood sugar when you eat a normal dose of the food. And then I contrasted with things that can offset that, like fiber, which is then going to distribute sugar slowly, or nutrient density, which is going to temper the effect. And I geeked out and I made this whole chart with fructose grams and glycemic load. And I looked at things like artificial sweeteners and gluten. Did you know that 2 pieces of wheat bread can actually raise your blood sugar more than 6 teaspoons of sugar? Now, you wouldn't see that on a label. So we need to give you that information so you can make the right decisions. So again, I put all of that together and I looked at 7 different categories of sugar. I looked at roots, fruits, grains, low-fat and no-fat dairy and diet foods, drinks, dressings, and sweeteners. And within all of those different categories, I figured out which were the no foods, the red foods, the high sugar impact, which were medium sugar impact, or yellow, and which were the go foods, the low sugar impact. And I'm going to walk you through, by the way, how you go through and taper down into this. But these scales are an amazing tool because you can take this with you wherever you go and you'll know exactly what you need to be doing. You don't have to sit there and go, okay, now I got to read this label. But what if I read a label and it says no sugar added in the front and I don't pull it over and find out that they actually did fruit juice concentrate, or maybe I had wheat bread and it didn't add sugar, but gluten raises blood sugar. This is going to give you all that information. So now you don't have to go out and be a detective or a sugar sleuth. Sugars are no longer going to be sneaking into your diet. It'll be easy to do. So I am going to walk you through the entire program. And then, of course, I'm going to take your questions too. And I want to remind you, by the way, that if you have questions, we've had a bunch sent in, but you can keep sending them in, and you send them into camper@jjvirgin.com. But before I go and walk you through the program so that you can get started right away, I promised you, and I want to honor the time, especially since we had a little bit of a little late techie start, that I was going to have a special offer for those of you on the line tonight. So I'm going to just share with you briefly about that. I'll talk more about that at the end. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to walk you through the program. So you can learn more about this and at www.sugarimpactdiet.com/join. This is where you can take advantage of what I'm about to explain to you. And really what I discovered was, I have the Sugar Impact Diet book. And there are people who love book. They're great. They got the book. They'll go do it. But that's not most people. That's like a very small minority of people can actually take a book and walk through it. And so what I realized is that I needed a program that did a couple different things. Number one, it shortened the learning curve. It put into your hands exactly what you needed to do when you needed to do it, basically walked you through the program. And also, it gave you more tools. Every single thing that I use with my one-on-one clients, you have, so that you can put this into action and be successful. And then in some areas, you may want to go deeper. So what I did was I created a walking tour. And this is me. It's not me reading the book, by the way. This is me walking you through the 4 parts of the program: setting up for success, and then tapering, which I'm going to walk through next, and then how you transition from being a sugar burner to a fat burner so that you're free forever, and then how you're transformed and how you really know how much sugar you can eat on a regular basis. I also transcribe these because I found that a lot of people like to read and then highlight and then go back and review. Then I created a brand new exercise program for the Sugar Impact Diet that will help you stay energized, improve your insulin sensitivity, and get rid of the cravings. And it's called my Core 4 program. Total new, fantastic. And so I did a video where I teach you the program, and then I did a video where I go through all sorts of different exercises, my new Fast Blast exercises for your upper body, for your arms, for your legs, for your hips, for your thighs, for your abs. And then I show you how to do burst training. So it's really comprehensive. And of course, I have a manual with that. Then I give you everything you need to track, because what you measure, you can improve. I give you journaling. And by the way, here's a little pearl for you. The number one thing that you can do to help ensure your success is just to simply write it down. Just write it down. It's so amazing. In fact, one study showed that the differentiator between people who were successful on a program and people who weren't, the people who journaled were twice as successful. So we use journaling, quizzes, measurement tracking sheets. I have my scales, I have shopping lists, I have recipes and meal plans, all the things that you'll want to have to be successful, as well as guides. And one of the things I have is a dining out guide that you can take with you. So whatever cuisine you're going to eat, Italian, French, Japanese, Chinese, you will know exactly which recommendations you should be choosing in order to eat low sugar impact. You're never going to be fooled again in some of these restaurants that turn your salad into a sundae. I have a conversion guide for my Virgin Diet cookbook, so it'll work perfectly for sugar impact. And if you're vegan or paleo, I've got you covered with guides there too. Plus, I pulled in some fun bonuses from some of my friends, Dr. Sarah Gottfried and Tom O'Brien and Dr. Mark Hyman and Donna Gates and Alex Jameson. And I interviewed them in their special subjects that relate back over to sugar impact. And of course, I talk about weight loss resistance and what to do if you aren't losing the weight. And I talk about which supplements can help you as well. I did a whole webinar on that. Now, I've discovered, and this is going to sound so obvious when I say this, but the number one reason why people don't succeed on a program. Know what it is? It's because they didn't start. So one of the things I put together is a challenge with a start date, because then you'll get started. And to help make sure that you get started, I have an interactive forum so that you have accountability, so that you can find that great accountability partner. And I also brought in amazing coaches. My Sugar Impact Diet coaches are in there. And so we are supporting, and I do Q&A calls, which I just love. And so I get in there and I take calls, I take questions live. So we're talking to each other on the line. Now, the other fun thing that we do in there is we have contests. So we have multiple contests throughout the program, and we have totally cool prizes too. So we have fun contests with prizes, and of course, more meal plans and more recipes, because everyone always wants more recipes. And so speaking of more recipes, here's what I'm going to do. For the first 98 people who jump in, and again, you go to sugarimpactdiet.com/join, who jump in, I am going to send you my kitchen makeover DVD, where I go through and I show you where all the sugar is hiding in the foods in your pantry, fridge, and freezer. And then more importantly, all the simple swaps you can make so that you can restock your kitchen and be ready for this, and you won't have any issues. There won't be any enemies hiding in there. And then my collaborative cookbook, that's with a bunch of cool friends like Daniel and Tana Amen and Mark Hyman and Sarah Gottfried and Leanne Ely. Tons of great recipes, and I'm going to send you the hard copy of those. So if you're one of the first 98 people, I will send you this, because I like to reward people that take fast action. Because one of the things I have seen is that people who take fast action are usually the people, not usually, are the people who are the most successful. And then the other thing that I'm going to do, and I will pull this up again as we start to go into questions, is I am going to, for the first, once we have 20 people who've jumped in, I'm going to throw in a bonus from my buddy Jess Ortner. And Jess Ortner did this very cool tapping bonus. And she wrote the book Tapping for Weight Loss. And she talks about how to use tapping to help you with weight loss, because it's going to help. It's really a tapping meditation to help you become more mindful and to break through any resistances, and then to reinforce all your positive thoughts and good habits. So, and Jess is just fantastic. She's part of the whole Ortner tapping family. So Jess Ortner tapping, as soon as I know that 20 people have jumped in, I'm going to throw that bonus in, and I have some more fun unlock bonuses coming up. But again, this whole program, you will get the challenge with my coaches, with me on the line, and you will get all of the online program that I talked about is $97, and that is going to be going on until Sunday night, because we're going to be starting the program on Monday, and then it will go up to $197. So it's over half off, makes it easy to do, and we're going to be throwing in some extra fun bonuses as we go. But I want to jump in now to keep going on this because I want to take you through the program. I want you to be able to get started right away. And by the way, the minute you jump into the program at www.sugarimpactdiet.com/join, you will, of course, be brought into the program so you can get into the online program. And then, of course, you'll be in the Sugar Solution Online Challenge, and you'll get into the forum, introduce yourself, start making some buddies, some accountability partners, and pulling out the recipes to get started for the first week and the shopping list. And I also want to remind you that you should have your workbook. And someone's asking us questions there. And someone said, is there a community blog to share ideas? There is. So in the Sugar Solution Online Challenge, we have a whole community in there where everyone is sharing ideas. It's phenomenal. Now, I also remind you, you should have your worksheet, and you should be following along on your worksheet. And I've already answered, we are eating more sugar than ever because it is sneaking into our diet, and the glycemic index fails us because it doesn't take fructose into account. And then to evaluate the impact of sugar, you have to take glycemic load, fructose, fiber, and nutrient density into account. So now is the next one, and it has to do with the first cycle of the program. So before you go into the first cycle, I mentioned the sugar impact quiz. You are going to test. You'll do your sugar impact quiz. You'll take your sneaky sugar inventory. It'll find out all the crazy places that sugar is sneaking into your diet, like that fat-free yogurt and the marinara sauce and the balsamic vinaigrette and the coconut water. So you'll take your sneaky sugar inventory. And then, of course, you're going to weigh and measure. Oh, I see we have some people. You're going to weigh and measure. This is like an ADD disaster here, by the way, because I've got my PowerPoint's going. I've got a worksheet here I want to make sure I do. And then I've got Skype, and I've got Brad from Redmond, Washington, who's jumped in to the program, and Beth from Hardin, Montana. Is that Montana? And Mary Helen from Eclectic, Alabama. And Mary Helen, and Sean Byrne from Mansfield, and Vita Brazatas, oops, I shouldn't be saying last names there, Vita, and Jennifer from Groton. And again, we're just gonna, if you can be counting, Kim's over here counting. As soon as I hit 20, I'm throwing Jess in, and then we'll pull up another bonus. And remember, all of you who just jumped in, you are all going to get sent, because this is an online program, you're going to get immediate access to the program, and you'll jump into the forum and start sharing and meeting up. And we already have some alumni from our last program in there as well, which is totally fun. But as soon as you join, if you're one of the first 98, you are also going to get that kitchen makeover DVD and the collaborative cookbook. And here's the cool thing with that. I don't offer those. You can't get them. They are not available. So you cannot get them on my website. You'll never get them. The only way you get them is over at PBS as part of their big package. So you cannot get them. They're exclusive. And if you want them, the only way to get them is to be one of the first 98. And we're counting right now because it looks like we're about to do an unlock bonus. But let's talk taper. And this is so important. If you've got your worksheet in front of you, sugar is a drug, and it's our drug of choice. And think about this. Little kids, they are not having beer and cigarettes. I certainly hope at 5, but they are having juice and cookies, right? And you look at around, and once you start to see, and this is what I hear from them, they're like, oh my gosh, sugar is just everywhere. It is crazy. And that's why this isn't so important, that it's so important to taper. Now, when I was building this program, the first thing I wanted to find out is, why is this such a massive problem? Why can't people get off sugar? And the thing I realized is that we weren't doing this the right way. Oh, we hit 20. Yay, we hit 20. I'm going to talk in the unlock bonus here in a moment. But you can't take someone on a drug, and unless you want to put them in a rehab center, you can't just take say stop it. I mean, could you imagine taking a heroin addict and putting heroin all around them and saying, now just don't have any heroin? But that's effectively what we do. We say, I'm not going to eat this anymore. It's all around us, but I'm not going to do it. And that's why one of the first things that we do in the program is we have you go through, and that's what that kitchen makeover DVD is going to show you, all the places it hides, get them out, put the things in. We've got the shopping list. You can restock so that you won't have those triggers. But I'm going to tell you, over time, those triggers won't be triggers for you anymore. And that's when you have true freedom. That's really exciting, but not during the taper part. In the taper part, you are not going to go cold turkey, because that sets you up to fail. That is the fastest way to fail, is to go cold turkey. Now, during the taper part, what you're going to do is you're going to use those scales to shift from high sugar impact foods to medium sugar impact foods. And here's what's so cool about that. When you shift from high to medium, you aren't going to miss those foods. So let's say you were having a white potato. This is one of the roots. Just switch over to a sweet potato. Simple, right? You know, you didn't miss that. Let's say that you were using regular sugar. Switch over to coconut sugar. Let's say that you were having, I'm going to think of a like regular marinara sauce at the store, which has sugar in it. Just have regular marinara sauce, that organic, plain marinara sauce that doesn't have sugar added into it. So those are just a couple of the simple examples of how we go from high to medium sugar impact. Again, it's not going to shock your system. They're not weird foods. You're probably going to spend less money at the grocery store. That's the big thing that I hear. But all you're doing is just making some simple swaps and lowering your sugar impact over 1 to 2 weeks so that your body has time to adjust. Now, one of the big things that I like to tell people to do is to add before they take away. And I find that for a lot of people, the reason that they are craving sugar is because they're not eating by what I like to call the sugar impact plate, which means that at each meal, you're getting in clean, lean protein. Now, the sugar impact diet, just like the virgin diet, is agnostic. Whether you're a vegan or paleo or anywhere in between, this program will work for you. And what I find with both vegan and paleo and anywhere in between, but especially vegans tend to get too many carbs, and that sets them up for problems. And I find with the paleo, it's like every single diet ends up kind of getting their fast food or junk food part of it. With paleos, all of a sudden you see a lot of paleo treats with too much honey. And with vegans, I see too much high sugar impact carbs. So lean protein is going to be things like grass-fed beef, wild salmon, pastured chicken and pork. If you are vegan, you're going to use some of the quinoa and legumes in there, and nuts, seeds, and dairy products. Healthy fats, nuts and seeds, cold water fish, grass-fed beef, avocado, olive oil, macadamia nut oil, loads of non-starchy vegetables, and low carbs. And those are things like quinoa and lentils and pumpkins. And what I found when you eat this way is that you can go 4 to 6 hours before you need to eat again. I'm going to talk in a little bit about the difference between being a sugar burner and a fat burner. But basically, if you have to eat every 2 to 3 hours, that's because you are not eating by this plate and your body's relying on sugar. And remember, all carbs except fiber turn to sugar. It's just how quickly they do so. You want to opt for slow, low impact carbs because they slowly turn into sugar. You don't want to mainline sugar. You want your body to struggle to make it from the foods you eat. So when you eat this way, you're giving your body all that it needs to stay satiated and to be able to use fat for fuel and to keep blood sugar stable for the long haul so that you don't need to eat every 2 to 3 hours. When you eat this way, your body's able to access stored fat for fuel. But again, this is part of what we do during that taper time, because if you start to add this in, it'll push out the cravings for sugar. Lean protein works with fiber to slow down stomach emptying to keep you fuller longer. Healthy fats trigger the chemicals to go up to the brain to tell you you're full. Healthy fats help trigger the reward center in your brain, just like sugar can. And lean protein can help make some of those brain chemicals like serotonin and dopamine, so that you don't crave the sugar and you're not as hungry and you're not craving the carbs. So this is really your starting point. And again, isn't it cool that you're adding before you take away and you're downshifting? Because a lot of what I hear from people is when we start to talk about taking sugar out, remember, this isn't about no sugar. It's about knowing what to choose and what to lose, is they flip out because the first thing they think about is what they have to give up. So instead of thinking about what you have to give up, think about swapping and adding. It's emotionally a lot better place to be, right? Now, here's another thing I want you to add, and that's my sugar impact shake. And I will tell you that for, gosh, I think it's been 25 years now, I have started the day with a shake. And studies show that people who start the day, use a meal replacement shake a day, actually lose more weight and keep it off. But you want to make sure you don't turn it into adult milkshake. Like if you look at some of these companies out there, like the sugar and Jamba Juice is just obscene, even in their light ones. So I do a serving of my all-in-one shake. And I have all-in-one shake plant-based and all-in-one shake, I like to call it paleo-inspired, defatted beef. So I do a serving of that. I use So Delicious coconut, almond, or cashew milk, and I get the unsweetened, of course. I use a scoop of my extra fiber supplement, and then I do extra fiber from chia seeds. Today I can tell you what I did today. I did chia extra fiber, almond milk. I did my chocolate all-in-one shake, and then I threw in half an avocado. And a lot of times I'll throw in some raw cacao too. What I'm getting when I'm doing this is I'm getting loads of fiber, healthy fats, and protein. You can also, by the way, throw in greens and you won't even taste it. And what's nice here is this is just going to give you nice, stable blood sugar, and you will stay full and satiated for hours. And the reason this is so important is what I see with people is that the majority of people start the day with dessert. And let's talk about that. That muffin and a latte, well, that's just a cupcake and a milkshake. I mean, look at a muffin versus a cupcake. If you take the icing off of a cupcake, what do you have? You have a muffin, right? So when you start the day with dessert, whether it's the cereal, milk, juice, and a banana that has the same sugar impact as 4 ice cream cones, or that muffin and a latte, or God forbid you start the day with nothing, which, by the way, that intermittent fasting might work for some of the guys, but for us gals, it's a big, fast way to crash. And this research shows people who eat a good breakfast with good protein actually eat less throughout the day. So when you start the day poorly, it starts a blood sugar roller coaster that you can just never, ever get off of. So again, this is how we start. We add before we take away. We downshift from high sugar impact to medium sugar impact. You start adding in that shake for breakfast. And, you know, hey, I'll do this oftentimes when I'm traveling or home and lazy. Who am I kidding? Twice a day, you can do it. And we have all of the recipes. We have a smoothie guide in the program. And of course, we also have exactly what you'll be eating for lunch and dinner. We have meal plans for you, and then extra recipes in case you want to be more creative. You don't have to follow exactly what we're telling you to do. But if you're one of those people that wants to be told exactly what to do, we've got you covered on that as well. And I want to throw in too, because now we're way over the 20. So I'm going to throw in another unlock bonus, and starting now for the next 20. And again, you go to sugarimpactdiet.com/join. And the first 98 are getting the Kitchen Makeover DVD and the collaborative cookbook. And we are sending you that DVD and that cookbook, and you cannot buy those. So there's the only way to get them. First 98 people. But remember, besides that, the next 20 people, when we get another 20 people in, I am going to give you Donna Davis's. And Donna Davis is a big yoga guru in Canada. She has a TV show in Canada, but she is going to give you her 20-minute balancing yoga practice. And the reason I love this so much, and if you were with me as I first was starting, you were one of the patient people as we were like trying to figure out the technology here. I was like completely stressed out. My social media director's like sending these relax texts. And when you get stressed, it raises your cortisol. When you raise your cortisol, not only do you make your gut leaky, you lower serotonin, you crave sugar, you raise your blood sugar, all sorts of bad stuff. So this 20-minute balancing yoga practice is perfect for helping you with cravings, lower cortisol, which ultimately is going to help you crave less sugar, burn more fat. Yay. So that's Donna Davis. And again, when we get 20 more people, and we're counting now, we just started counting, we will, and I'll name names later, although I'll name a couple names. So we've got Nicole from New Britain, and we've got Elizabeth from Pasadena, and Miriam from Palm Beach Gardens, and Catherine from Durham. I was just there, and Rosemary from Amherst, and Anne from Marblehead. As soon as we get 20, and Jan from Missouri, and Jean from Grayton, as soon as we get 20, I will throw that one in, but I want to keep going. So I am going to move into the transition cycle. So we went through taper, and now we're going into transition. And what's so exciting about transition is this is where you're going to make that shift that I talked about earlier, from being a sugar burner to a fat burner. And that changes everything for you, because the sugar burner is that person who has to eat every 2 hours, eat every 2 to 3 hours, or they start to feel like their energy is crashing. And I know that you've heard this. I know that you've heard that you're supposed to eat every 2 to 3 hours, that you're supposed to eat small meals all throughout the day because it keeps your blood sugar balanced, right? This is one of those ridiculous urban legends that will not ever seem to go away. Now let's think about it. What happens when you eat? When you eat, your blood sugar goes up. If it didn't go up, you could go and take a blood test anytime during the day to check your blood sugar because it wouldn't go up. We all know that's not the case. So you eat, your blood sugar goes up. If you eat, if your blood sugar goes up, your insulin goes up too, because your insulin has to tell your body to bring your blood sugar back down because high blood sugar is toxic. So blood sugar comes down. Now the problem is your insulin doesn't move as fast as your blood sugar does. So your blood sugar comes down, but your insulin's still up. If your insulin's up, your body basically tells your fat cells to lock it down, that you do not need to access stored fat for fuel because we got sugar out there. But your sugar's down, so the message to you is, I'm hungry and my energy's crashing and I feel a little shaky and headachy and flat out cranky. And so you train your body to have to rely on sugar. Now, whether it's eating straight sugar or eating a biscotti or eating a muffin or eating a potato, remember, your body's going to make sugar from all of that, and you're training your body to have to fuel on that. What we want to do is move you from being a sugar burner to a fat burner, and you've done this when you can go 4 to 6 hours without eating again. In fact, one of the cool things I hear from people in the Sugar Solution program is that they actually forget to eat. I'm going to share a story with you in a little bit by a guy named Jeff, he's like, I forget to eat. And this is someone who never, ever forgot to eat. So here's what's so amazing during this part. First of all, we're going to move from medium. Oh, we hit 40. We're going to do another bonus here in a moment, so stay tuned. So what we do here is we move from medium sugar impact to low sugar impact. You're going to be eating by the plate still, and you're going to be watching that 4 to 6 hours. And I know now you might be going, I don't know if I can go 4 to 6 hours. You'll be able to go 4 to 6 hours. You will see, you'll be blown away. You're going to be using your shakes. Of course, you're going to be in that form. You're going to be journaling. You've got your support in there. You've got people to ask questions to, grab an accountability partner. But here's the thing that changes everything. And this is what's going to make you lose your sweet tooth. And this is what's going to enable you to be a major fat burner. We're going to drop your fructose to as close to 0 as possible. And we do that by getting rid of anything containing fructose, even fruit. And whenever I say this, people freak out. So let me tell you this. We are not getting rid of fruit forever. We're getting rid of fruit for 2 weeks. Can you agree with me that you can do anything for 2 weeks? And also, and I did a podcast on this. I actually kind of think I might have gotten on a bit of a rant. Fruit is not free food here. Somewhere along the line, we have gotten this idea you can eat as much fruit as you want. No, you can't. Too much fruit is too much fructose, and too much fructose, the more fructose you eat, the better your body gets at transporting it to the liver and storing it as fat. Remember, the only organ that can metabolize fructose is the liver. And if you get really good at it, and that's not something you want to be good at, that means you're just taking it to the liver, storing it as fat, and you're still hungry. Making fat, still hungry. Get the picture? So again, over time, fruit will be one of the foods that you'll want to have in your diet, 1 or 2 pieces. And not juice and not dried fruit. We don't want to unwrap the fruit and free up the sugar. We want to eat it within its natural state with fiber and nutrients. So that's why it's low on the sugar impact scales. But for now, we're taking it out and anything else with fructose out, because here's what's going to happen. The system, it's called the GLUT5 transport system, that revs up as you eat more fructose is going to go down low. So you get bad at transporting fructose, which is a good thing. Also, fructose is super sweet. It's one of the reasons that we use it in all of these different products. It's one of the reasons we use high fructose corn syrup. Of course, it's also because it's cheap. It's one of the reasons they love to use agave or crystalline fructose. They're super sweet. And by the way, do not be fooled by agave. I think if you're on the line now, you probably are getting the fact that agave, which is higher in fructose than high fructose corn syrup, is one of the worst things you can do, as is apple juice. It's got more fructose than a soda, than a Coke. But we drop fructose down because it's super sweet, and we're also getting rid of the other things that you're eating all the time that are super sweet, like those horrible artificial sweeteners. And we start to reclaim your sensitivity to sweet while we're having you appreciate savory and spicy. You start to lose that. You start to be able to hear sweet again. Now, there's another thing we put in here. I've got a whole bunch of different things in the program to help you deal with cravings. But I do something else that helps you get rid of your sweet tooth. And that's using something called lemonade. No, not the lemonade that you see at the store with 31 grams of sugar in it. This is the sugar impact lemonade. And we use water and lemon juice. and a little bit of glutamine powder, and then you can use a sweetener. I actually created my own sweetener, virgin sprinkles, but I really don't want you to use much of that. I want you to focus on the sour taste because, as it turns out, sour helps take away your sweet cravings. And the other cool thing here is lemon juice helps temper the blood sugar response from a meal. So you're going to be drinking this to help you get rid of that sweet tooth. Now, my biggest goal when I ran 700 people through this program the first time, and we've now run the program through twice. I did it first to help to write the book and really check everything. And then we just did a program like 3 months ago, maybe 2 months ago. And we're getting ready to launch, of course, the next Sugar Solution online challenge. It'll be starting on Monday. But my goal, what I set out to prove, is that we could lose your sweet tooth in... Oh, there are a lot of questions coming in. I'm like over here going, oh my gosh. Someone asked if the virgin sprinkles are okay on all cycles. Yes, they are. Anyway, I set out to prove that you could get rid of your sweet tooth in 2 weeks or less. That was what I wanted to prove. Yes, the weight loss is great. Okay, the average person on the program loses 10 pounds in 2 weeks and 2 inches off their waist. Cool. No one's going to say, hey, I don't want that. I mean, come on, that's fantastic. However, that's not the big deal. The big deal is losing your sweet tooth, because now you just lost the hold that sugar has over you. And cycle 3 is where we make that connection. Cycle 3, which is what I call the transform cycle, is where you connect the dots, because what we do in cycle 3 is we go through and we now test back. We start putting fruit back in, and we start putting in some medium sugar impact foods. And all along the way, we're checking in on the sugar impact quiz. How's your energy? How are your cravings? How's your waistline? How's your gas and bloating? Are you gaining weight? What about your appetite? What about your cravings? Is this a trigger for you? So that you can say, because one of the biggest questions I've been getting is, how do I know how much sugar I can eat? When you go back and you test this and you're really clear, because you've basically done a 2-week detox, you're really clear of what it feels like to feel really great. And then you go, you know what? When I eat this sweet potato, or when I eat this yogurt, wow, it zapped my energy, or wow, I gained weight, or wow, my blood sugar went up. All of a sudden you go, like, this isn't worth it to me. That is a very different conversation around food. That's not, I think I'll cheat, or, this is a cheat day today, or I think I'll be a little bad. You go, when I eat that, it gives me a headache, or when I eat that, it makes me crave more of that, or when I eat that, I gain weight. I'm not going to do that. Like, it's not worth it, right? That is very different. And here's what really happened here that made me so excited. What really happened here is people tasted the sweet stuff, because we have them try a high sugar impact food. And they said, you know what? I don't even like it anymore. Sweet food just tastes gross. Now that is empowerment. That changes the game. You just took control back over sugar. It no longer has its hold over you. What a huge, huge difference. And again, we check in with the sugar impact quiz all along the way. So we are getting like a bunch of questions, but we're not ready to take questions yet. But I am going to throw out another unlock bonus before we go take some questions. So I'm going to do an unlock bonus, and I've got a buddy. How lucky am I? If you want to Google this guy, you'll say, JJ is so lucky. I think People magazine dubbed Rocco DiSpirito the sexiest chef. So there you go. Anyway, I told Rocco that, I asked Rocco, I didn't tell him. I asked Rocco if he would make some recipes, because he is an amazing chef and he's got great books. And so he basically lives this way and cooks this way, but he made some specific recipes for the sugar impact diet. So I'm going to give you this incredible recipe guide from Rocco that he made for the sugar impact diet. So we'll do that. 40 people, because I know we're cranking through this. So I've got more bonuses. I've got a couple more after this, but 40 more people, and we'll unlock that bonus. And then also remember, I don't know how many people we've had now. We're going to start with 40 now. So Travis, we're starting from here with 40, because I know we've gone over 40, which means we're coming close to the 98 people, the first 98 people getting the Kitchen Makeover DVD and cookbook. Come on, you definitely want to get those. I'm going to send those to you. You can't buy them. So you cannot go on my site and get these. This is the only way that you get them. So if you're sitting on the fence going, I don't know if I want to get rid of my sugar addiction, I don't know if I want to drop 10 pounds in 2 weeks, hey, get the cookbook. Be one of the first 98. Okay, so let me just jump in here. What I'm going to do, I've got to share this one with you because this was the funniest story. So here's the deal. I get a phone call from a friend and he goes, "Hey, I want you to meet this guy, Jeff Moore, because he's got a company and you guys would be really good. You should know each other." I'm not going to tell you what the company is now because they'll give it away. So I get on the phone with Jeff and we're yakking about how we could do some things together. And he goes, "Oh yeah, I got your book." And now this was my old book, The Virgin Diet. Still relevant, not like old vintage. Like this was my other book, The Virgin Diet. He goes, "Yeah, I got that book. I never opened it." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Wow." And hey, that proves my point too, by the way, is like there are those people that will get the book and read the book and do everything, and they're few and far between. That's why I created a program. I'm like, most people need their handheld. They need the support, the accountability, the group. So I said, "Really? Okay." Well, I did not know at the time that Jeff was morbidly obese. So we're going to now meet for lunch. And I sit down. I'm like, "Okay, Jeff, time to open the book." But I was working on the sugar impact diet. So I put him on the program. And here's what's funny, because the first thing Jeff says to me is, "JJ, I'd love to do this, but I don't know what I would eat." And I go, "Really?" I go, "Jeff, you own a wild seafood grass-fed beef company. Seriously? Come on." Because remember, one of the first things I tell people is start to add that protein in. That really helps with sugar cravings. Anyway, here's what's cool. So Jeff in that photo was 316 pounds. I'm trying to think where he is right now. I think it's about 255 right now. I mean, look at the difference. It is crazy. But here's the real cool difference. I wish I had this photo. I had this photo he sent me. And he is standing in the sea of cheesecakes. He's standing there, and there's like every flavor imaginable of cheesecake. And I'm looking at this. He texted me this, and I'm thinking, oh, this is bad, because I'm thinking he's going to say, "JJ, what could I do? I mean, here are all these cheesecakes. I just succumbed." But what he actually told me, and this is a sugar addict. This is someone who had to eat every 2 hours, totally addicted to sugar. And he goes, "You know what, JJ? I'm standing in the sea of cheesecakes, and I feel nothing at all. What a victory. What a victory. That's what I want for you. That's what I want for you." And I've seen it now with hundreds of people is they tell me, "I got through it and sweet food tastes gross. I don't even want it anymore. Ick." So I'm going to walk you through again how you can get started with us right away. I know Jeff will be in the forum. He likes to jump in and support people. We've got some other alumni in the forum. We've got the coaches in the forum. But I'm just going to walk you back through that, share with you how you can get started with us at sugarimpactdiet.com/join. Remember, if you're one of the first 98, you're going to get the Kitchen Makeover DVD and the collaborative cookbook sent to you. Those are not for sale. It's the only way you can get them. We are at 55 total sales. When we get another 25, I'm going to give you Rocco. Come on. Oh my gosh. And so I'm just going to go over real quick what you will get when you get started. And remember, this is an online program, which means immediate access. So when you join at www.sugarimpactdiet.com/join, you're going to get immediate access into the online program. And the online program is really, I want to do a couple things there. I know that, there's more tools. Let's face it, it's a book. How much can you fit in there? So there are more tools that I wanted to be able to give. And I also wanted you to be able to go deeper while shortening your learning curve, which means you get started, you go, "Okay, go here first, take this test, do this quiz, take these shopping lists." So you'll know exactly what you need to be doing every step of the way, so you don't have to think. And you'll also have this amazing community, because we're launching our online challenge starting on Monday, of people that you will be able to interact with in the forum, people just like you. You'll be able to get an accountability buddy. You'll be able to ask questions to my Sugar Impact Diet coaches. They jump into the forum to support you as well. And of course, I'm in there. What I do is I get on and I do live Q&A calls with you. And I actually get there and we will take your questions on the air. So we're talking, chatting, hanging out. It's awesome. That's, to be honest, my most favorite part of the whole thing is that. Then in the online program, one more part about that challenge that is so fun is we have 3 different contests we do during the challenge. And one of them is going to be finding the craziest places that sugar hides in your cabinets, in your fridge, in your freezer. You'll be shocked. And then we also do a recipe makeover challenge. And then we also do a big transformation contest. And we have all sorts of incredible prizes like an exerciser. I do a full package of cool stuff. Jeff gives couple big fish packages. Hint Water jumps in. So Delicious Dairy Free has some stuff. So, I mean, we have really cool prizes for you to win, because I love prizes. And contests get you in the game and keep you involved. And of course, in the challenge too, we have more recipes and meal plans. So every week there's a new meal plan with recipes and a shopping list, so you'll know exactly what to do. And if you want to do your own thing too, you've got all the guidelines there. And in the Sugar Solution online program, I have additional recipes and meal plans. So there's everything that you need. Now, other thing that I do there in the Sugar Solution online challenge site is I'm going to walk you through the program. And so I start with the testing and setting up for success. What do you need to do? And I'm going to share with you as if I'm working with you one-on-one, like one of my clients. I do that with you. I walk you through the program. I walk you through setting up for success. I'm sharing my top strategies, some of my stories with my clients, my favorite success tips. And then I take you through the tapering cycle. I take you through transition, and I take you through transform. And I also have all of that transcribed in case you're one of those people who likes to highlight things and read, which is what I like to do, which is why I probably do it. I always like to read things afterwards so that it helps me learn it better. So you can listen to me in your car. You can take me to the gym. And speaking of the gym, I also created a brand new exercise program for this program that's going to be, the reason I did it is I wanted to help you get through the cravings, help you burn fat, help you create energy, and it's called Core 4. And I have a webinar where I walk you through the whole program and why I did exactly what I did and how to do it. And then I have training videos that take you through my Fast Blast workouts. I think they're 10 minutes. There's 10-minute workouts. They might have gone a little over. I think when we were doing them, I was like, was that 10? But they're right about 10 minutes. I have a yoga flow exercise. I have workouts for your upper body, for your arms, your legs, your glutes, your hips and thighs, your abs. And then I also show you how to do burst training. And then I also have a manual so you get your workouts, you can track it. And speaking of tracking, I also have everything you need to do to track your progress, because what you measure, you can improve. So measurement sheets and your quizzes and your shopping lists and your scales and journaling. Because journaling, as I mentioned earlier, is the greatest determinant. This is the number one thing. When I work one-on-one with someone, you don't have an option. You have to journal or you're fired. That's it. And then I include extra guides, a dining out guide, so you can take it with you when you go to the restaurant, so you will never wonder what the heck you're supposed to order, no matter what the cuisine is. And smoothie guides, you have tons of great recipes, a vegan guide and a paleo guide. And then I also brought in my pals. I brought in Dr. Sarah Gottfried to talk about hormones, and Dr. Tom O'Brien to talk about gluten, and Dr. Mark Hyman to talk about blood sugar balance, and Donna Gates to talk about gut health, and Alex Jameson to talk about cravings. So I brought in all my pals to teach you as well. And then one of the things I'm known for is overcoming weight loss resistance. And so I did a webinar on that and all the things that could get in the way of you losing weight, so you know what to look out for there beyond sugar. And then I also have a supplement webinar that I included. But I want to remind you that you've already got the Jess Ortner Unlock bonus, and you've got the Donna Davis 20-minute balancing yoga practice. Right now we're seeing if we're going to be able to get to Rocco. We need 20 more sales to get to Rocco. And if you're one of the first 98, and there's still time to get to be one of the first 98, you get the Kitchen Makeover DVD and the cookbook. But the biggest reason I put this together with this group challenge was the number one reason I saw that people didn't get started was they didn't have a start date. So that's why I did it. I said, all right, we'll have a start date, and our start date is Monday. So get in so that you can get started, and you'll have you can't say, okay, I'll start tomorrow, because the program starts and we're all doing this. So we start Monday. Now, I also want to let you know that the Sugar Solution program that you're going to get immediate access to is going to be there for you whenever. You will have access to it now, next month, next year. So it'll always be there for you too. So that's just your constant library. That's always your resource. So I am going to jump in now and I'm going to grab some questions. And so that is next thing is I've got a bunch of questions. I'm going to take some that have been coming in, and I'm also going to be taking some that I have here from you who've written in. And one of them that I get asked, first thing we did with all the people who wrote in is we tried to compile them. So when we got a bunch of people who said the same thing, then I made sure that I was going to do this. So one of the ones I got asked was, what's the best way to detox off sugar? And really the best way to detox off sugar is what I talked about earlier, is you don't want to go cold turkey. I think back to this gal, Rachel, and she was in our sugar solution program. She had failed so many times because she just kept going cold turkey. And honestly, you want to set yourself up to fail, go cold turkey. It's the first thing, because if you're used to using sugar as your primary fuel source and you're eating every 2 to 3 hours and all of a sudden you pull this down too low, boom, you're going to go running for a cookie. So that is one of the biggest things I've seen. And again, that's why we have the tapering component, and you're going to test throughout the tapering component. Usually it's a week, but for some people, it might need to be 2 weeks, and that's totally, totally fine. Now, I'm seeing here on the line loads of questions about cravings. And I think of one person that wrote in, my cravings are huge. How do I gain control? And here's what I'm going to tell you. Get in the program and get an accountability partner. That's step one. Get an accountability partner and start eating by the plate. Remember I said add before you take away. And then you're going to use that lemonade. And the lemonade is amazing. And also cultured foods are great helps too. And then in the walking tour, I'm going to share some other special strategies. So I've got more strategies than that. We've got actually a whole list of them. But those are the three big ones I'd say are the accountability partner, adding in the lemonade, the sour, and eating by the plate. Huge. All right. Is there some sugar in my shakes? Yes, there's 1 gram. Here's the deal. I have 2 types of shakes in right now they say virgin diet all-in-one shakes. They're great for virgin diet, sugar impact diet. Or if you just want to be healthy. And here's what I did with the shakes is they have 1 gram of sugar. I tried to make them no grams of sugar, but it turns out that I wanted to make them all in one, put in vitamins, minerals, fiber, pre and probiotics, whole plant complexes to give you good antioxidants. And those actually have 1 gram of sugar in them. So you're getting 1 gram of sugar in the shake, which is really nothing, negligible. So especially considering how amazing they taste. So there's only 1 gram of sweetener in there. There's nothing artificial in there, and they're low sugar impact, and you can have them every single day. Here's another big question I'm getting, and I see it right here up on the board from Mina. What can you have at night to crave you say, what can you have at night to crave sugar cravings? I'm thinking to curb sugar cravings. And then I got the question again. Actually, I got it a ton of times, but I have it over here. I'm trying to see where it is. I want something sweet after a meal. What can I eat instead? So for most of us, our evil twin's really coming out at night. And this is where I want you to use that Kitchen Makeover DVD if you're one of the first 98, but you'll also get the shopping list to get the stuff out. It is just flat out mean to think that you can be there at night and you can have your favorite, say, ice cream or cookies or chocolate and not go eat it. I mean, I would never do that to myself, because if it's there, I'm going to go eat it. And this is what I do for a living, and I don't have a sweet tooth. So there you go. So first of all, get the enemy out of the house. Get the things that are triggers for you, because even something that's healthy, too much healthy food's unhealthy. Like dark chocolate's healthy, but I have it actually in my office, not my house, so that I won't go crazy on it at night, because it's not in my house. I can't eat it. Okay, so first of all, that's a very important thing, is make it easy on yourself. But you know what? The other piece of this is people are like, okay, what can I eat at night? I go, you don't need to be eating at night. You ate dinner. You don't need, it's just like you don't need to eat an appetizer before dinner. You don't need to eat before you eat. You don't need to eat after you ate. If you eat by the plate, you get clean, lean protein, healthy fats, low impact carbs, loads of non-starchy veggies, you should be full. And if you're hungry, try drinking a glass of water. There was a great study that showed that 1 glass of water shut down evening hunger pangs 100%. So I don't think you're hungry. And I just had this conversation with someone yesterday. I was at a client's house and she's like, but what can I eat? And I go, you're not hungry. Go get in the bathtub. You just trained yourself that you get to have a treat. So why don't we think of a different treat? So for me, at night, I love reading really dumb novels, but I feel too guilty reading those dumb novels. So the only time around I'm allowed to read those dumb novels is the night before I go to bed. I take a hot bath and I read a little bit of a dumb novel, and I read a good one, not a great one, so that it's not so good that I'm going to stay up and read it. So that's my technique. But think of something that's another way to give yourself a treat besides food. And here's one other thing I'm going to say about that, because I realize I'm on a bit of a rant about it, is you really want to give yourself 12 to 14 hours between dinner and breakfast. That's why it's called breakfast. Because what the research shows is that people who have that nice fast at night are leaner, because it's the nighttime when you're going to be burning the fat and raising growth hormone. If you eat before bed, you actually can suppress growth hormone, which you want to come up and help you heal, burn off fat, build muscle. Very important. So you don't need to be eating that little something something before bed. You're not hungry. That's just a bad habit that you've created. And you can also look at, did you tie it into something? Like if you watch TV and eat food, stop watching TV. Just stop. Go do something else. Find a replacement activity. Now, another question that we got tons of was, how much sugar can we eat? And that is what cycle 3 of the program is all about. So remember, in cycle 2, you do that transition from being a sugar burner to a fat burner. You lower fructose down, you get your sweet sensitivity back. And you start to really, I mean, people tell me, oh my gosh, I can't believe how energetic I feel. I'm not hungry. I have high energy. I can think clearly. I've got great focus. I had one gal who said, she was 64 years old and she thought she was getting dementia. And she went on the program because she would literally forget appointments. She would walk from the kitchen to the bedroom, have no idea what she went there for. So figured she was getting dementia, was, of course, alarmed about this, goes on the program. It's a non-issue. She says, now I have amazing focus. People are like, what are you doing? What changed? So one of the things here is you're going to look at all of this stuff, and you're going to look at all of these foods. Now you've had this 2 weeks. And again, I just told you the story of the gal who thought she had dementia. I mean, that's just like, and how is amazing focus. What you're going to find in 2 weeks is great focus, great energy, but really you've got a new baseline. It was kind of like a little detox. Now you're going to go back and you're going to try some of the medium sugar impact foods and a high sugar impact food, and you're going to see how you feel. So Denise, who asked how much sugar can we eat, that's how you know, because it's different for everybody. It's going to be different for you depending on if you're insulin resistant, or you have diabetes, or you've got adrenal issues, or you're an athlete, or you're depending on your genetics. So every single person's different. This is how you figure it out for you. You got to connect the dots, and you're going to become aware. And remember how empowering, I just said it was, how empowering it is when you connect those dots, because now you'll know exactly what you need to do. Weight loss won't be a hobby anymore. You're not going to be battling your cravings and battling willpower. Willpower is a joke. You're going to know what you need to do, and you're not going to put yourself in a situation anymore because you know how crappy you feel. I quite often get cornered by people, and they go, well, when do you cheat? What do you do? And I go, I just don't. It just is a non-issue. But I want to tell you that I was a binge eater. I was anorexic. This is not like it's never been an issue. It was a huge issue. It's why it's such a passion project for me, because I know what it's like. I mean, I have eaten, I am quite capable of eating gallons of ice cream and loads of popcorn. Totally capable. All right, we are going to unlock another bonus, and then I'm going to take some more questions. And so, and this one is so awesome. I'm so excited about this. By the way, we are at 200. We blew through the Kitchen Makeover DVD and the I am blanking on it. We blew through the Kitchen Makeover DVD and the collaborative cookbook. We blew through the sending those out to the first 98. But here's what I'm going to do. And team listened to me, and they're probably shaking their heads. But I can't, because this has to be exclusive. This is an exclusive program for PBS. So it's not going to be for everybody. I can't do it because that's my deal with public television. I love public television, totally support them, and I create special things for them. But we have room for another 375 people to jump in. And what I'm going to do is for the first, well, I think I'll do it for the first 498. I like using crazy numbers. For the first 498, we'll give you online access to it. How's that? That is, and my team's like, you just created work here, but let's do that. Okay, guys? Everybody happy there? So for the first 498, we will give you online access to the kitchen makeover video and collaborative cookbook. So we've got still some space there, and then I'm going to unlock another bonus. Now remember, you get Rocco DeSpirito's recipes that he made specially for the Sugar Impact Diet. You get Donna Davis's 20-minute balancing yoga practice. You get Jess Ortner's tapping for weight loss, and she's got 2 meditations in here, by the way. And Jess is just awesome. I love her to pieces. She's got a great Hay House radio show. I'm going to give you another one that we created with the community that I just love, and it is the peer pressure guide. Because one of the things that I've seen that happens is that people decide to do this, and then they like go to a party and publicly announce it, and everyone's like determined to get them to eat the cake, right? And so what we did was we created a peer pressure guide that gives you all sorts of great responses when those things happen. And I'm just going to share with you a couple of people now who have jumped in. And Courtney from Weston, Mary from Urbandale, Chardell from Bonham, Terry from Chico, Tamara from Clancy, and Cheryl from Orlando, Doreen from Terrytown, Susie from Franklin, Marcy from Royal Oak, Susan from Santa Rosa, Carolyn from Girard, Jessica from Grand Prairie, Francis from Gloucester, did I say it right? Dad from Cyprus, Diane from Ottawa, Denise from North Olmsted, Jane from New Windsor, Tonya from Brennan, Kathy from Incline Village. I used to go to Incline Village for a vacation every year. Kelly from Glen Allen, Joanna from Calgary, lots of my Canadian friends. So love seeing that. And I'm sorry, it is so cold there right now. Shannon from Wall, Sana Lee from Portland, Maureen from Orlando, Lori from Naples. I love it there. Belinda from St. Simon's Island, where Dr. Anna Cabecca is, one of my best friends. Vicky from Pleasanton. David from Central Point. Darlene from Tucson. And Christina from Dublin. Welcome. I'm so excited that I'm going to be working with all of you guys, and I hope right now get in, jump into the forum, introduce yourselves, make your accountability partners, meet the coaches, and what you do first is you're going to share your big goal. Anyway, it leads you through that. When you jump into the program, it's going to tell you exactly what to do. I'm kind of jumping the gun, but I just love the forum and everyone interacting, and we'll send you the information on my first call so that we can all get on there and I can actually talk to you on the phone. I'd love to do that here, but we've got thousands of people and it would become insane pretty quickly. So I've got more questions, and where are we on time right now? Oh boy. Like they were like, how long are you going to go, JJ? Travis, let me know how many people are around and we'll see, because I'm like, can keep going. So, and you know, what's crazy is I've got to do actually a satellite radio tour and get up at 4 a.m., which is so not what I like to do. But I am here and up, and so I want to keep going if you still are around. So Travis is going to let us know. And Kimberly wants to know, I'm 53 years old and I have rheumatoid arthritis. If I stop eating sugar and start moving a little more, can it really help me feel better and lose weight? Kimberly, please do this. Just please promise me, if I do nothing more tonight, if I get you started, I will be beyond happy. And here's the deal. You're going to pull gluten out, because part of the thing is that we're pulling gluten out because gluten actually, again, wheat raises blood sugar more than sugar does. So you're going to find that this really is going to help you. So yes, and I want to hear your success story. And by the way, I'm 51. I'm 51 with a knee replacement. So just in case anyone wants to know that. I know women are like, you're just spouting out your age there, JJ. But you know what? The most de-aging thing you can do is lower your sugar impact. If you are sitting here trying to figure out what you can do to slow down the aging process, lower your sugar impact. It is amazing. Now, I love okay, this is because I'm seeing these questions coming up all over the place. And it's like, what do you do about your spouse? What do you do about your spouse? How do you convince your spouse? I love one of these. Mary Jo is, what do you do when you have a spouse that's a glutenaholic? All right, so here is the deal with the spouse issue. Now, for you women on the phone, for the most part, we are the healthcare CEOs of the family, right? And a lot of these guys probably aren't shopping so much. And so what I would tell you to do there is stock the house. First, what I like to do is I don't really make a deal about this stuff. I don't make a big deal about it. What I do is I just put the good stuff in the house. And then they eat it. So, I mean, I've got teenage boys at home, and I just put the good stuff in and I put it at eye level, and it's done and made for them, and that's what they eat. So I don't bring the enemy into the house. So just don't bring the enemy in the house, and then they can't eat it. So there you have it. And if he wants to go out and do his little glutenaholic thing, then he can go out and do it. But I find that I don't want to create this to be a war zone. You can also start moving him from, high to medium. So we could work from, say, if he's doing wheat pasta, at least we could get him over to, say, quinoa pasta. And if he's doing regular tortillas, at least to rice tortillas, so we could start tapering him down. But that's where I would really work. And we still, by the way, I just saw little notes. I'm going to read some names here in a little bit, but you can still jump in and get the kitchen makeover video and the collaborative cookbook. And remember, you cannot get those anywhere. You can't get them. Can't buy them, can't get them. It's because I've made them exclusive to PBS. So this is just a little extra bonus. And the kitchen makeover DVD, I literally went in the kitchen and I went through the pantry, fridge, and freezer, and I show you all those places where sugar is sneaking in. I pull all those foods out. I lined them all up, and then I show you all the swaps and then give you the shopping list so you know exactly how to restock. And I mean, you will be fully loaded in your fridge, freezer, and pantry. And I want to address something that's coming up because but although I wonder if I should jump back. Let me just go back to convince your spouse, and then I'm going to address the money thing. So how you convince your spouse, I just personally would just live this way, because as they see what's happening with you, they're going to come on board. I see it every single time. If you turn this into a battle and dig your heels in, they're going to dig their heels in too. Just start cooking healthy food. When you cook this way, no one ever accuses you of eating diet food. You're going to be blown away at the recipes that you see in the program. They're like spectacular. They're amazing. So you just do this and grab those recipes, start cooking it, and people will be blown away. We've even got desserts that would blow your mind. By the way, I want to remind you that we are going to leave this up. We're going to put a replay up, and we're going to leave that replay up for a couple of days, and then it will be gone forever. So you can also have your spouse listen to this, but also bring some friends on in and have them listen to it too. So there's going to be a replay to all of this. It will be up for a couple days. I'm going to answer a couple more questions because you're still with me, so I'm still with you. How do you like that? And the one I want to address is this expensive one. And someone said, I cook for my family. Isn't this more expensive? And, I just talked about pulling all the stuff out and bringing the good stuff into your pantry. So what we did was we went to the grocery store, and we actually filled 2 carts. So I had Camper with me, and Camper, and by the way, if you've got questions, you can email them into camper@jjvirgin.com. So Camper filled like a regular cart, like what a regular person would eat, trying to be healthy, but not over the top. And then I filled it following the program. And what was crazy was, we weren't like, he wasn't trying to find expensive stuff, and I wasn't trying to find cheap stuff. I was buying what I like to buy, and he was buying what he thought to buy. And at the end of it, my goal was, I kept thinking when we went to the checkout stands, I was like, I hope that we're even, because then I'll prove the point that it's not more expensive to eat healthy. But what blew my mind was that we weren't even. Now, we added into my cart the Virgin Diet Shake and Virgin Diet Bars, which work great on the sugar impact diet. Okay, I made them for both. We just didn't get the labels changed over in time. I don't know what they'd be, the Virgin Sugar Impact Diet, but anyway, they work great for both programs. And so we added those in too. And what's so interesting is it costs $38 more to eat the other way, to eat the bad way, to eat the unhealthy way. So this idea that it costs more to eat healthy is crazy, crazy, crazy. Because you know what costs more? Well, first of all, low energy, pain and inflammation, not living your life full out, that costs more every single day. I'm sorry. I mean, that is taking away from your life when you think about not being able to go after the things you really want to go after. That's what costs more. But it costs more to buy processed food. It's more expensive. But those bottled salad dressings, those fat-free salad dressings, those are the biggest scam ever. 11 grams of sugar per tablespoon, teaspoon per tablespoon of dressing in most of them. And it's so much cheaper just to take some macadamia nut oil and lemon juice. We have amazing salad dressings in the program that you will love, love, love. Okay. So someone said, is there a grocery list in your program? Shopping lists galore. Shopping lists galore. Brenda wants to know, can I eat more than 2 fruits a day if I eat it with the protein and fat? No, you can't, Brenda, but you won't want to. You're going to go through the program and you'll go to 1 to 2 fruits a day. And Lori wants to know, how do I get the bonus gifts? So Lori, if you got the program, they will be delivered to you. And I want to remind everybody, we've got Rocco Despiritos has made the recipes for us. We've got Donna Davis's yoga practice. We've got the the Jess Ortner tapping. I don't know if we got the peer pressure guide in yet. Did we? No, we haven't gotten the peer. I'm waiting. I think how many more do we need? Like 20, 40. I don't even, oh, what did I say? See, I don't remember. No, that's for the other one. Let's say 20 more. I don't remember. Hopefully someone on the team will say, JJ, you said X. Anyway, so we got the peer pressure guide coming on board at some point here. But we still have space for those for you if you want the Kitchen Makeover DVD and cookbook. So anyway, you will get all of those. And again, remember, you also get my expert interviews, you get my weight loss resistance webinar. So there's the bonuses in the program too. So loads of bonuses. It's 97. It will go to 197 starting on Monday. The challenge starts on Monday. So you save $100 and you're getting all these crazy bonuses, and you're getting the Kitchen Makeover DVD and kitchen collaborative cookbook that you can't even buy. So it's kind of, I wanted to make this like, so you had to do it because I know what changes when you have a deadline, when you have the accountability, when you have the support, and I know what changes when you lower your sugar impact. What happens when sugar no longer has control over you? What happens when you can think straight, when you have great energy, when you drop the weight so you have more confidence? Think about what that can do for you. I talked to you about the gal who now has a second career at 70 years old. And you saw the picture of Jeff Moore, who's lost 60 plus pounds, and his whole life is changing, his whole relationship with his wife. His wife is the most adorable gal, Doreen. She's coaching my son. She's a college coach. She's helping my son with college. But their whole relationship has shifted now. It is so awesome. So, that's what I look at. It's not about losing the weight. It's about gaining the freedom. It's about getting your life back. It's about not being held back by this and not having this as your hobby and not having this as a thing every day where you feel bad because you promised yourself you wouldn't do it and you went and had the cookie, right? That makes me crazy, crazy, crazy. Okay. So let's see. Let's jump back into more questions. So the expensive thing I talked about. Now, here's a good one because we're getting a lot of the kid questions. Now, I'm going to share a little story with you about the kids because I got them. And I'll tell you what, you send your kids off to school and it's like sending them into a drug. It's like sending them to like a drug lord. I mean, honestly, when you think about it, you send them off. I remember one of my kids' parties at school and they have juice, cookies, cake, fruit roll-ups. I'm like, what? Why do they need why do we have all of this? Like, really? And it was apple juice. And again, apple juice is the highest fruit. Apples are the highest fructose fruit. Apple juice is more fructose than a Coke. Oh, crazy stuff. Now, but here's what you can do because, this is going to happen at school. But when you teach your kids, because exposure equals preference, when you teach your kids to eat good, clean, lean protein and healthy fats and vegetables, which I'm going to tell you, getting your kids to eat vegetables, like I'm not going to say my kids are eating kale. I have one son who will eat kale. I'm going to brag, but the other one ain't going to touch kale or Brussels sprouts. One will. But exposure equals preference. You just got to keep trying with them. And if you involve them so that they're doing it too, they're going to be way more likely to do this. So get them involved in helping you plan plan for dinner, what's for dinner. And they can do that at 5 years old. Get them involved in stirring and cooking. They can do that. This is why I love, by the way, starting the day with a shake, because your kids can help you make a shake. And what a great way to sneak things in, because you can put spinach and kale in a shake and they won't taste it. How awesome is that? So this is one of the greatest ways to ensure your kids go off to school with something fantastic. My kids do not have cereal for breakfast. They do not go off to school having had cereal and milk, which is a guaranteed crash and burn in 2 to 3 hours. You do not want that to happen. So that's the first thing, is you're going to involve them. The recipes I have a ton of kid-friendly recipes in there and shopping lists. But I'll tell you, when you remember, exposure equals preference. When you don't have soda in the house, we don't have soda in the house. We don't have sweets in the house. So here's what happens. My kid comes over here, one of my sons, and he's 17, and I bought all this crap, right, to stock we have a studio where we do all this. We've bought all this garbage to put in there to show people that we're cleaning it out. And one of the things we put in there were Oreo cookies. And I think they were like low fat, which is the most hilarious to me, low fat Oreo cookies. And again, remember, low fat equals high sugar, and high sugar means high fat on your body. So we got these Oreo cookies, and Bryce, my 17-year-old, of course, I'm telling you this, and I told Bryce, never, ever, ever tell anybody else, tell anyone I did that we did this. But anyway, he walks in, he looks at the Oreos, he's like, Mom, wow, can I have some? And I'm looking at him and I go, if you don't tell anybody, because I'm thinking this is going to be interesting. Go ahead. Okay, Bryce. He sits down, he has two, and he goes, oh, I can't eat anymore. He was the same kid at Easter. He went Easter egg hunting, and I'm like, go ahead. Throws up the Easter eggs. Now, that might sound like bad mom, but, he never touched them again, did he? Because he doesn't eat that, so then it tastes disgusting when he does. He just, when you don't eat much of it, you can't eat much of it. Now, one of the things that we've been getting a lot of questions about is, how is this different from the Virgin Diet? And so when I wrote the Virgin Diet, it was really about food intolerance. And the deal is, the foods that you're most commonly intolerant to, and I can tell you because I did testing in doctors' offices, and so I saw that the top food intolerances were gluten, dairy, soy, eggs, and then I had to put in corn and peanuts in there because those were like second tier. Sugar isn't something people had a immune intolerance to. It's hormonal, but I had to put it in there because how could I not pull out sugar? But what I discovered, so Virgin Diet's really key for identifying your food intolerances. Again, dairy, gluten, eggs, soy, corn, peanuts. And great for helping with autoimmune and GI issues, pain and inflammation, weight loss resistance. But what I discovered is the biggest question I got asked on the Virgin Diet was the sugar part, which I just put in there because I couldn't imagine not putting sugar in there, because how could you do a program and not pull sugar out, right? So I went, what, I really need to do a focus on sugar. And that's what I think is so key in a program, is you need to focus. With both the programs, I don't say, hey, we're going to do, okay, pull the 7 foods out. Now start sleeping more. Now manage your stress and start exercise, because you're like, whoa, I can't do all this. That's why we start with all right, let's identify where sugar's sneaking in. Let's lower your sugar impact from high to medium. Let's start eating by the plate. Very simple things. Just focus on that. So I realized with the Virgin Diet, that's focused on food intolerance and connecting the dots between what you're eating and if you're reacting to it, that I needed to just focus on sugar. Because so many people were saying to me, JJ, I can't get over my cravings for sugar, or I'm just so confused by it. Can I have artificial sweeteners? By the way, no, you can't. Or, it's honey, it's natural. Can't I have that? So I went, what, I really got to focus on this. And they're different programs. In fact, at some point, I'll probably do some crossover advanced thing between the two, because when you do the Virgin Diet, you'll find out which foods you can eat and which you can't. Then jump over to the sugar impact diet, and you're going to lower your sugar impact. If you started with the sugar impact diet, you'd lower your sugar impact, and then you'd jump over to the Virgin Diet, and you'd see, okay, so which of these other foods can I incorporate in or not? So they work side by side and allow you to focus in one area, which is so important to me, so that you can have success there and then jump into the other. Now, I love the question I'm getting from the person who's hypothyroid and pre-diabetic. I'm hypothyroid too, but I will tell you that if I were going to pick one group to put on this program, and if I could wave my magic wand and have my wish, I would wish that the American Diabetic Association would say, oh my gosh, this is the program we should put every pre-diabetic and diabetic on. Do you know now there are now either 87 or 89 million pre-diabetics walking around, and there's 87 and 29 million diabetics, and of those 29 million diabetics, a third of them don't know they are. If we could just diabetes is a disease of diet and toxicity, and sugar is the biggest toxin we've got going. It's poison, and if we could just put this in, it'd be amazing. So I'm going to shout out a couple people joining in who I'm so excited about. Jennifer from Groton, Vita from Palace Hills, Lana from Lee's Summit, Maggie from Sonoma, lucky you, Irene from Houston. I'm going to Houston in a couple weeks, excited. Pauline from, I cannot say that, what is that, Zelenopoli? Carol from Belgrade and Carol from Billerica. I'm just killing these. Sorry, guys. Billerica. Robin from Wapuka. Miriam from Palm Beach. Susan from Redmond. Shelley from Chambly. Denise from Covina, down the street from me. Catherine from Fairview. Anita from Dexter. Oh, boy. Margot from Menominee. Kim's laughing at me over here. Margot from Wisconsin, and Karen from Los Angeles, and Janice from Big Bear Lake, and Mary from Atlanta, and Chantal from Kemptville, and Karen from Newfield, and Michelle from St. John's, and Constance from Newton, and Anne from Marblehead, and Ellie from New York, and Nora from Palmdale, and Kelly from Houston, and Lil from Richfield. Welcome. Welcome aboard. Remember, you guys are all going to get, you're going to get my Kitchen Makeover DVD video. I'm sorry, not the DVD, the video. And you're going to get the collaborative cookbook that has all my cool friends like Mark Hyman and Daniel Lehman and Yuri Elkheim and Dave Asprey. Everybody's in there. And someone asked if you can use the Green Balance. Yes, you can. So I created a greens and fiber shake, and I actually created it with the sugar impact diet in mind, because you've got to be careful with green drinks. First of all, a lot of the green drinks out there are not really green. They are basically loaded with fruit. There's one that has 56 grams of sugar in it. But of the powdered green drinks, whether you do this that way, whether you have a powdered green drink or a fresh one, make sure that you add some fiber in to temper the blood sugar response. That is so critical. So I didn't see one done that way, so that's what I made. I made a green drink, and it's also got some powdered fruit in there, which is great because it's not going to give you a big hit of sugar, and you'll still get the nutrient density, which is so important. Okay, so someone wants to know, what can I substitute for my Diet Coke? Boy, was that a hard habit for me to break. So I am glad that you are asking that question, because that means that you are jumping in and you're going to do this. So I love that you were saying, what can I not how do I can't give up my Diet Coke. You're like, what can I substitute? My favorite thing is hint water, blackberry fizz. Like, there are some of the things out there now, I think it's called Zevia, where it's stevia sweetened sodas, but I do not think that that's the answer. First of all, you don't want to buy things in cans, but also you do not want to use, I think that just keeps you into that craving. That's why I like the blackberry sparkling water. I like the sparkling waters from Hint Water because they've got no sugar, they've got no sweetener, it's just fruit essences, and they're amazing. And then balsamic vinegar. So what you'll find in the book is balsamic vinegar is actually a syrup, not a vinegar. And so what we do is we use balsamic vinegar. We trade that for red wine vinegar or apple cider vinegar, but it's syrup. It's not actually vinegar. And so it is sugar. That's why it's a problem. And what is a good way to spend this weekend prior to starting the program? I love that question, because so many people will start they're like, I think what I'm going to do is have ice cream. No, what you're going to do is get into the Sugar Solution program right now. So the program, the first 2 weeks we do prep. So if you've been listening going, I can't start next week, it doesn't matter, because first of all, the first 2 weeks are prep. You can start the cycle 1 a week early if you want to, though. And if you can't start this time, we will run another challenge. So you can still join the online program and then jump in on the next challenge. We actually have alumni that are jumping in again. But this weekend, what I'd say is get in there and start listening. What you'll be able to do is you'll be able to use that kitchen makeover video, and you'll be able to clear out your kitchen. You'll be able to take the shopping list and restock. And you'll be able to just use it to educate yourself and get yourself set up for success, and also use it to start to dream bigger. And this is such a great time of year. This to me is the perfect time of year to do this, not just because of the resolution. I actually make no resolutions. Every year I used to make the I'm going to do yoga resolution. I stopped. I'm like, it's ridiculous. I think probably now that I've said I'm not going to make the resolution, I'll actually do it. But I don't make resolutions. What I do is I make stretch goals. I create a bigger aspiration, a bigger vision for myself. And so what I would do is say, let's set you up for success with getting the things that you need to have in your house and getting the enemy out. But then take your weight and measurements, take your before picture, but let's look at what do you really want to be doing in your life? Because possibly this has been holding you back from some of the things that you've been wanting to do, or this could be a catalyst for a shift to going after bigger things. So start thinking what other things you would like to be doing in your life, and set some big goals. Set goals for specifics of what you want to see as an outcome from the program. And so set that for an outcome for the program. And sorry, I've got so many things flying at me, and I've got ADD to begin with. Thank God I don't eat sugar. If I did, I would no way be able to handle this with all you people. But think about the things you'd really love to do in your life, and do that. So that's what I'd love to see you do, Nancy, this weekend, or Lana this weekend. And Nancy says, on the weekend, I enjoy a glass of red wine permitted, or no way, thanks so much. So like my favorite food groups are Bulletproof Coffee. Someone said, what about Bulletproof Coffee? So, you know, I love Dave Asprey. I wrote the foreword to the Bulletproof Coffee or the Bulletproof Diet book, and we are great pals. He's one of my favorite people. And I love Bulletproof Coffee, and it's just amazing. So it is absolutely allowed, just, you know, and of course, you know, you don't put sugar in it, right? So Bulletproof Coffee is a yes, just not pots of it. And red wine, here's the deal. As I was just going to say, like my favorite food groups are red wine and Bulletproof Coffee. But you want to make sure you're drinking really good wine, because some of these cheap wines, they actually add sugar. They don't ferment them all the way through. And during the 2 weeks where we do the transition, which are the so exciting 2 weeks, and I will be so excited to be on the calls with you during those 2 weeks. Like, it is crazy, the things what people share that are happening with them. You are not going to do red wine during those 2 weeks. But after that point, a little red wine, high quality, is great. And in fact, the studies show that red wine actually can help with insulin sensitivity and can help with weight loss. And possibly I'm just telling you that to justify my habit, and I'm totally owning up for that. And I love, can my 14-year-old daughter join? Bring the family in, man. Get a family pass. I love that. It's so great. So great. So we are closing up on 8. We are closing up here on 2 hours. And so I'm going to honor the time for all of you guys, because this is kind of crazy to keep going on here, although I could. And I just want to honor that you're all here, and just thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate it. I love these questions so much. It has been so awesome. And what I'm going to do, someone wants to know, I got to answer this one though. Can you purchase all of the food items for each cycle at your local grocery store? Here's the thing. Again, what I found is it's less expensive to eat this way. We have a couple cool things we do in the challenge. We do all sorts of deals in the challenge. And one of the things we do in the challenge is the wild seafood guy, Jeff, because he's now such a fan, he actually gives everybody, I'm saying this and Jeff's probably like, I hope he's going to do this. He did it last time. So if you think about it, it's $97, and now you're already getting, this is a great deal. You get a $25 gift certificate to Wild Things Seafood, which I found was less expensive than what I was spending at the grocery store. So, and you don't have to, it's not like you have to buy $100 with the 25. You can just buy 25. So how nice is that? We love Jeff. But you can get this at all the regular grocery stores. I'm going to give you a couple things that I love. Now, I also go on Amazon Prime. I got to tell you, I'm such a fan of Amazon Prime. There are a few things that, depending on where you are, might be difficult to find, but they're on Amazon Prime, and we give you links to all of those. And I've also just partnered up with a company called Thrive Market, which is basically like organic Costco online. So I'm getting a hookup on that too for you guys, and they're going to give you gift certificates too, and free memberships for 3 months. Something incredible. So I'm working on that as well. And I'm always looking for, like, how can I give you great deals to make this so easy to do? So Trader Joe's I like, but I really love Whole Foods 365 brand, because they've built that to be competitive against all the grocery stores. And again, I am like the bargain hunter on how you get deals on everything. And we do have the shopping list. And then we also have my favorite things shopping list. So easy stuff to find. Don't worry about that. Most stuff can be gotten at your local grocery store. There's a couple things like shirataki noodles that if you can't find, they're on Amazon. So no matter where you are, you'll be able to do this. And believe me, we have that because we get people all over the place. So wherever you are, you'll be able to do this. And we give you special deals on all the products. We'll do all sorts of stuff. So we take care of you. We consider you to be family once you join in to the world. And I'm going to tell you a couple more. So we're unlocking. I don't remember what I said with the unlock bonus. I don't know. Like, who knows? It's 8 hours. It's now 8 o'clock. Peer Pressure Guide is unlocked. So, and also you will also get the 2-week Sugar Impact Diet Cookbook. It was another special that we made to celebrate the launch of my book. So you are getting so many recipes and resources. We are just there's all sorts of stuff. But again, we're also going to guide you through this, so you'll know exactly what to do to get started. So I'm going to recognize Andrea from Santa Maria, and Kate from Vail, and Mary from how do you say that, Kim? Beulah, and Margaret from Chattanooga, and Marcy from Everett. and Wendy from Vineyard Haven, and Remy from Chicago. I'm going to Chicago on Monday. I certainly hope it's not -2 on Monday. Oh my gosh. And I'm going to be on Windy City Live, Wendy. So, Remy, watch me. Let's see, Dawn from Hobie Sound, and Kay from Omaha, and Donna from Lawrenceville, and Michelle from Deerfield Beach. I used to live right nearby. Amelia from Sagamore Beach, Vicki from Lawrence, Linda from Thousand Palms, Lori from Santa Rosa, Brenda from Las Vegas, Suzanne from Brea, and Carol from Lexington, Kentucky. Remember, you guys are all getting the Kitchen Makeover video and collaborative cookbook, as well as the Peer Pressure Guide, the 2-week Sugar Impact Diet Cookbook, Donna Davis's 20-minute balancing yoga practice, Rocco DiSpirito's recipes he made specially for us, Jess Ortner's tapping program, and the Sugar Solution program, and the challenge, and you'll be getting in there right away. And again, I want you in there, introduce yourself, state your big stretch goals. We call them the big juicy goals. And then we're going to tell you about the first contest that we have that we're getting started with that you can win. I don't remember what the prizes are, but usually we throw, I think we're doing some virgin sprinkles. So we'll have my special virgin sprinkles that you'll be able to win just by getting the sugar out of your house. So again, 2 hours in, any questions that didn't get answered, if you're in the program, of course, you will be joining me live and we'll be on the phone together hanging out. We're going to be taking questions and doing some blog posts. Of course, I also do my podcast. So we'll be answering them on the podcast as well. I love that you're doing that you're asking questions and you're so engaged and involved. I love that you're looking at this and you said now is the time. And that's really what it is. Like, now is the time. Now is your time. It's your time to take back control over sugar. It's your time to clear up the confusion. You've been duped by misinformation. It is not your fault, but it's your fault now if you don't take action, because now here's a simple way to do it. This is so easy to step into. And that's really what I think my unique ability in the world is take all the complicated stuff and go, how do we walk through this? Again, the first time I did it, 700 people, average person lost 10 pounds in 2 weeks and 2 inches off their waist, but they lost their sweet tooth forever. And that means you just got back your control. Now you got whatever was holding you back out of the way so you can focus on the life that you're meant to live. How amazing is that? So I hope you will join me. I don't hope you'll join me. Join me. Join me on the Sugar Solution program. It's www.sugarimpactdiet.com/join. Come in. It's great. Amazing people. Jump in, and I will see you in the forum, and I will be with you on the calls. Thanks again. Bye-bye.